Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Challenge Live. I am the commish, Ben Klein. This is our Week 11 Game of the Week edition. Tonight we will unveil our Week 11 Game of the Week, break it down, might even have an interview on tonight, and then I will issue my prediction at the end of who I think is going to be the winner of our Game of the Week. So, let's get right into it. The Dirty South will again play host to the Game of the Week in Week 11 as They See Me Rollin', who is currently 8-2 and number 1 in the power rankings, faces off against Renegade Misfits, who is currently 7-3 and number 4 on the power rankings. They also boast the current longest winning streak in the league at 5 games and counting. This is number 1 against number 2 in the Dirty South. This is They See Me Rollin', coming off the worst loss of the year, facing the hottest team in the league. If this isn't a Game of the Week, man, I don't know what is. This is huge. Renegade Misfits has been chasing They See Me Rollin'. Beaver Street Roar softened them up last week. Cut that 2-game lead in half. It's down to only 1. And now they face Renegade Misfits again this week as they step into a second straight Game of the Week. So let's get right into the breakdown of this action. Neither team has ever won a playoff game in the Hardcore Challenge, and only one team has ever made it into the playoffs in the Hardcore Challenge. So you can't look at history in this one and see who historically the strongest team is. The only thing that we can look at is that both of They See Me Rollin's losses has come from division opponents this week, and we just have to wonder if the trend will continue, as the Dirty South is the strongest division in the league this season thus far, and will a third loss come in division for They See Me Rollin', which could really hurt them coming down to the playoff race with a multitude So, let's get right to the breaking down the quarterbacks. The first thing you got to look at, obviously, the quarterbacks, like I said, you've got Russell Wilson, came over in a big trade that they just made right before the trade deadline. So you've got Rollins rolling with Russell Wilson now at the quarterback position, and you got Renegade Misfits rolling with Drew Brees, who's been carrying them, leading their team all season. Drew Brees is going to Carolina, and you got Russell Wilson at home against the Eagles. I'm leaning toward Drew Brees in this one. Drew Brees likes to be in shootouts, and I just think I think Drew Brees is going to have another big game. Not sure if they'll beat Carolina, but fantasy, it really doesn't matter. You just want to see the points getting put on the board. So I'm leaning towards Drew Brees with the advantage there. Now, at the running back position, you got the Renegade Misfits with the combination of Doug Martin back in the fold and Derrick Henry. Going with Mark Ingram, and he's got Rawls coming back finally for him. His first week back. So it's hard to tell what Rawls is going to be bringing back to the table. Mark Ingram has been solid, but I see him coming back to normal, obviously, again this week. And I give the advantage at running backs to Renegade Misfits in this one. At the wide receiver position, you've got They See Me Rollins, who's also picked up Golden Tate in that trade with Russ. At the same time, they got Russell Wilson added to the mix with Devontae Adams. Then on the other side, you've got A.J. Green and Doug Baldwin for Renegade Misfits. A.J. Green and Doug Baldwin is going to be a big combo for Renegade Misfits this week. A.J. Green's going to play big dividends. He's going to lead the team for Renegade Misfits. And Doug Baldwin, we'll see. I agree with the fresh off the injury running backs, so I don't see Rawls being that big. And I'm surprised they got rid of Christian Michael, but whatever. All right, moving over to the tight end position. We've got Jason Witten for Rollins going against Greg Olson for the Misfits. Now, typically, either one of those would probably be an advantage for either one of them, but in this week, I'm going to call it a wash between the two. I really don't see an advantage for either one. I think both are probably going to have solid games, and they're both currently projected to get 15 points, which is probably fairly close to where they will hit. Now, you're looking at the flex position. You've got Eli Rogers for the Steelers going for Simi Rollins, and you've got Jordan Matthews for the Eagles going for Renegade Misfits. So I'm leaning towards Eli Rogers with the Steelers for Simi Rollins, only because of the matchup that they have playing the Browns, going to Cleveland to play the Browns. Obviously, this is probably a good matchup for the Steelers, and they're going to put up a lot of points. So he's got a good possibility to score there. You got Jordan Matthews at Seattle. I think the yards and points will be at a premium against the Seattle D, so I don't see that as a huge game for wide receivers. Now, the kickers, you know how I feel about the kickers. It's a freaking coin toss. It's hard to judge kickers and what they're going to do. I'm going with Novak. I'm leading towards Renegade Misfits with the advantage here. The Texans are going to play the Raiders. I don't think they're going to score a lot of touchdowns. I think there's going to be quite a few field goals kicked by the Texans in that game. And I think that's going to tip it in the advantage of Renegade Misfits. I'll also give Renegade Misfits the advantage at defense, the team defense. They've got Seattle with the Eagles coming to town. And I think Seattle's defense is going to have a good game. And directly on the other side, you've got the Eagles defense for Simi Rollins with Seattle on the road. So it's kind of cool. You got both defenses going directly against each other. I think the Seahawks defense will play the advantage. Now, when you're looking at the individual players, you know, I don't see anybody jumping right out at me. I see Cam Chancellor for Simi Rollins as a possibility of a big score. And I see Malcolm Smith is the possibility of a big score for Renegade Misfits at the solo position. So pretty much that's how you see for the positional breakdowns of the of the teams for the big game. So with that, typically, you know, before I make my prediction, do have a returning guest on the show tonight. We have Travis Zinner, owner of the Renegade Misfits. They are currently sitting at 7-3 and in second place in the Dirty South. Travis, thanks for joining us again. How are you doing this evening?
Good. Good to be back.
Awesome, awesome. This week is by far your biggest game. A chance to finally close the gap with Simi Rollins. What is the key to a big win this week for the Renegade Misfits?
I think it's just that everybody stays healthy. I mean, luckily I got Doug Martin back. He had a good game last week to kind of prove he was back. I mean, I've always kind of axed in the running back, but had wide receivers and quarterbacks to make up for it. So hopefully that's the kicker, I think.
Absolutely. That's big having him coming back for injury for you. That is huge. So what do you, looking at your opponent for this week, Simi Rollins, obviously I'm sure you've looked at your matchup and taking a look at their roster, what you're going up against this week. What do you see as their biggest weakness coming into facing you this week? What do you see looking at your opponent?
I think the biggest thing is kind of like their running backs. Of course, I know Ingram can have a good day and Rawls can, but it all depends on how they do. And the games, I think I have a little better individual defensive players than he's had, and I think that's going to make the difference.
Yeah, defense helps. It's been swaying games. I've seen it quite a few times this season. So you've built a solid team over the past few years. This is by far your best chance to finally make the postseason. How are you feeling about your chances of making the playoffs as you currently sit slotted in one of the wild card positions?
I think this is going to be the year. I think this game here will, if I win this game, I think I can take the Dirty South. If I don't, I think I still got a good with wild card. The earlier matchup this season with Simi Rollins, they just happened to have one defensive lineman that played really good. Ironically, it's my defensive lineman now, so
there you go.
It was a close game last time, and I think if I win this game, I think I can take the Dirty South. Looking ahead at the rest of my matchups.
All right. So, lastly, to finish up then, Renegade Misfits, Beaver Street Roar. You've both been stalking Simi Rollins all season. Beaver Street Roar handed him a loss last week, trimmed the lead down by 1 game. Is there anything you would like to say to your opponent prior to the big showdown this weekend? And what is your predictions for the game?
I'd say good luck, and my prediction is I'm pretty sure I can win this one. This one's one that I'm looking at, and if I win this one, like I said, I think the rest of the year I think is going to go pretty well.
All right. You are definitely looking strong, Travis. It is by far the best you have looked thus far this late in the season, and the Dirty South is by far the strongest division right now. So, Travis, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you taking the time and joining us this evening. We are. So you heard Travis's prediction. Pretty bold predictions, man. He thinks he may be claiming Dirty South. He's never made the playoffs before. I gotta admit, the top of the Dirty South, that is the most exciting race going right now. You got 7-3 Beaver Street Roar, the 7-3 Renegade Misfits, and the 8-2 They See You Rollin' that everybody's been chasing the entire season. And finally, they're looking vulnerable after Beaver Street Roar softened them up last week. So we will see if Renegade Misfits takes them down and Beaver Street Roar wins as well. We could be looking at a 3-way tie next week in the top of the Dirty South with 3 weeks to go. So things could get really, really interesting. So you heard Travis's predictions. He thinks he's going to take down They See Me Rollin'. Do I agree? I'm 6-4 in my predictions for the game of the week. I'm going to be 7-4 next week because I am picking the Renegade Misfits. They're going to take down They See Me Rollin', hand them their second straight loss, second straight game of the week loss, and the Dirty South is going to start to be a logjam on top. So it's going to get interesting. I think it's going to be a crazy race to the finish in the Dirty South, along with a couple other of these division races. But I think the Dirty South is going to be very, very interesting, especially with everybody playing each other right down the stretch. So definitely one we're going to want to keep our eyes on. Definitely one we will touch base on Sunday when I get back with you guys the next time. So there you had it. Heard it from one of our owners, straight from the horse's mouth, the Renegade Misfits. They are saying, yes, Matt, I do see this. So, they're saying they've got it. I may be, but we will see. How about I have something to say about that? So might Tyrod Taylor. Are you ready for the challenge? Good luck. Game on.